either been very busy or you've been ignoring me. Okay. Budget, yeah, yeah. No fuss, all budget. No fuss, all budget. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I'm with her. I don't like it either. Not that you care, but. Okay. I spent a while perusing the proposed budget. Very interesting. Yeah, it does.
Buddy, how are you? Thanks for coming.
Yeah, I hope so.
That's Brian.
Yes, floodgates opened.
The travel mic is on and it's at the podium, so it should be ready to go. Please, the travel mic? Oh, it's on and it's at the podium. Should be all set.
Good evening. Welcome to the July 19th City of Oldsmar Council meeting. It is 7 p.m. and I'm calling this meeting to order. Would everyone please rise for our invocation and pledge allegiance to the flag led by our city attorney, Tom Trask.
Our Heavenly Father, we pray that you would guide us as always, satisfy the needs that need to be met at this meeting, strengthen us as the council makes tough decisions, guide them to be effective and decisive so that this meeting will be productive. In this we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tom. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to open up the open forum. Each speaker will be recognized once and will be limited to 5 minutes. Presentation on any subject that is not scheduled for a public hearing. Public hearing items are 3, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. You can talk about anything else. You get up to 5 minutes and we'll conclude at 7:30. Is there anybody on this side of the room that would like to open forum? Come on up.
First, I'd like to say a happy 39th birthday, Mayor.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'd like to thank you for having this meeting in this nice room that the taxpayers paid for, and have the video and recording and all of what's going on with the public government. I know Councilmember Gannon, Knapp, and Graver would probably like to have it over at a food court somewhere where they could be away from town 45 minutes and have people pay $10 for parking. But, you know, this is what it was built for, and this is open government, and this is what you were elected to represent. So I also like to talk about tomorrow night. I think it's a great thing we're having tomorrow night. It's just planning session, but I also wish it would happen before the 65-acre vote. But I'd also like to remind you that there is a lawsuit out there. We're challenging the comp plan. So that court case could go on for 2 years. And I don't really see the rush for this, because I don't think there's going to be developers who are going to respond to your RFP when there's a challenge to your comp plan out there, because there's much precedent out there about lawsuits where things were torn down or just disbanded as far as plans. So I think that you should seek advice from your city attorney, who gets paid to give you advice, although we didn't give you any advice for the May 25th meeting last year. But this has to be addressed, and you don't want to waste county or city money, resources, or developers' times if this case does go my way, and I think it will. All right, thank you.
Anyone else on this side of the room would like to speak?
How you doing?
Please state your name and address.
Yep. Dave Beinart, 1810 Business Court South. I am part of the board of directors for Oldsmar Little League, and we just had our annual meeting. I was elected the city liaison, so I wanted to come in and introduce myself. I know most of you already know me, but just a formal, introduction. So that's pretty much all I have for you. We are just opened our registration for our 2022 fall season. So that's open, and we're looking forward to yet another great season. Thank you.
Well, I think they made a good decision. Good choice, too.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else on this side of the room would like to speak for the public open forum? Come on up.
Hello, Suda Yantis Cologne, 402 Arlington Avenue East. I am here as president of the Oldsmar Friends of the Arts Group, our 501c3 charity that supports the performing arts of Oldsmar and its students. And I am here with Kelly O'Brien, our membership chair, who has a very special message for everyone on council, staff, and our community. Is Fallon in here?
She is.
Ms. Fallon, come help me while she talks.
All right. Kelly O'Brien, 343 Tavernier Drive. I am a board member of OFODA, Oldsmar Friends of the Arts, and the membership chair this season. And we're kicking up our membership drive for this fall, actually year-long season. Before I make our request, I want to put my psychology hat on for a moment and say that the reason why we're doing this program to get support from the city and from the citizens is not just to put on fun plays that are excellent and really make for a great community event, which I know we do, if I don't say so myself. But it's also because we care about the youth in this community, and we understand that giving kids an opportunity to connect with adults and kids in their community in a meaningful way is really important to lots of different things: mental health, academic development, behavioral and social emotional development. So there are 5 core competencies: sense of self, positive sense of self, self-control, decision-making skills, a moral belief system, and pro-social connectedness that are 5 core characteristics found in the research that are really important. And I feel like performing arts fulfills that for the kids who participate. So the reason why we're up here asking for your membership and trying to get better known in the community is to support this program to do just that, to help kids who can financially afford it come and join us, and to help those who can't. A scholarship program is a big part of our membership. So we're asking that. You all have received your papers up there. And thank you, Katie. She's already a member of
She's
our
one of our newest
Yeah.
members of the Oldsmar Friends of the Arts, and we call our members friends. So Ms. Katie is one of our newest friends. Thank you.
So your membership helps with set design and scenes and security and all kinds of
Lights,
things.
sound, all
equipment.
kinds of things.
Yeah, costumes for kids, and again, scholarships for kids, so that everybody can participate no matter what. So we're asking that you, if you haven't already, consider becoming a member. And then also, we gave an extra one, so if you're willing to tap someone else on the shoulder, a neighbor or a friend or a business in the community that you frequent, just let them know about us too, and ask if they would be interested in supporting this program as well. $50 is the smallest. That's like a dinner out or a movie. And then 1,000 is our upper end for businesses or individuals who feel like they can.
And of course, anybody can give more than 1,000. We will make sure to make room.
Of course you will.
So this is our ask for this season, summer and fall, and then we will be coming back in the spring to let you know about our gala. That will be the second annual Mardi Gras Gala in February.
Yes,
And that's
February
another-
22nd, Fat Tuesday.
That's another way that we're going to keep making these requests for this really important program and opportunity for kids. So,
Now, we know you all have shown a very strong interest in the arts, in the performing arts, in the hopeful future Odeon project, et cetera. So we know you are all behind us verbally. Now we hope you can get behind us a little bit more financially and passing the word to help us grow our membership. So we appreciate all your support and everything you've done as a council, but we're coming to you individually and saying, come help us, come join our mission, walk this path with us as a partner with the city of Oldsmar and as individuals to support our mission. Thank you. Any questions? Oh, and I should say, you can also sign up online. You can use the forms that we've given you that are in there, mail them in to us or hand them to a board member. Or you can go on our ofota.org site and you can fill out our online membership form, paying right through PayPal, our direct account, with any credit card. So we try to make it easy for you to join. Thank you. And we hope to see you all at Moana. October 15th, yeah, so I didn't bring notes, so I gotta look at her to make sure. Thank you very much, council,
Thank
staff,
you.
and community.
Thank you.
Anyone else on this side would like to speak to the council? All right, we're gonna move on to this side. Come on up.
Hi there. My name is Cameron. My address is 3100 Teal Terrace. Actually not a resident of Oldsmar, however, my organization works out of Oldsmar here. So I hope you don't mind. I kind of put something together so I don't get scatterbrained and end up being up here for 3 hours straight. So my name is Cameron. I'm the executive director and alongside my mother, an executive chef, the co-founder of the nonprofit 360 Eats. 360 Eats is currently based out of a commissary kitchen called the Kitchen 24 here in Oldsmar. However, our services are mobile and soon will be available throughout Pinellas County. I'm here tonight to share a little bit about our organization and what we're doing to support our community here in Oldsmar. So our mission at 360 Eats is to create a just and sustainable food system that's free from hunger and food waste. We've created a full circle 360-degree system that bridges the gaps between food waste, hunger, and environmental sustainability, and it works in 3 parts: saving food, serving food, and sprouting food. So saving food, we partner with local grocery stores, such as the local Earth Fair just down the road, food distributors and farms to save their excess good food from going to waste via donation. Serving food, we use professional chefs and volunteers that we then reimagine that food into nutritious gourmet meals, which are then served to the food insecure partner sites, such as Old Mar Cares just down the road, and other local shelters and community centers, and to close the loop, sprouting food to ensure that no food goes to waste. Leftover food scraps are donated to local gardeners to create compost and sprout more food. So we strive to make our services as simple and accessible as possible, from rescuing surplus food directly from our partner sites to distributing nutritious meals to residents in need at times and locations that are most convenient for them. It's why in almost 2 years of operations, we prevented nearly 60,000 pounds of good food from going to waste. We served nearly 15,000 nutritious meals to the food insecure, and we've transformed over 16,000 pounds of food scraps into compost right here in Pinellas County. And that's just with a small group of volunteers, limited funding, and a very reliable Toyota Prius. So recently, we were awarded a grant that will take our services to a new level. This grant allowed the purchase of a food truck that will enable 360 to expand its areas of service while significantly increasing the amount of food rescued and meals served to our neighbors in need. This first of its kind project will allow 360 Eats to reach the underserved pockets in our community that need food assistance the most, where transportation and affordable food options are limited. I've recently had the pleasure of chatting with the city clerk, Ann Nixon, over there. It was highlighted some of these areas here in Oldsmar, which we are planning to serve with the food truck. So additionally, the onboard kitchen of the food truck will allow us to become less reliant on the crowded shared commissary kitchen that we've worked out of, and will allow our chefs to produce fresher, high-quality meals, ensuring food insecure individuals and families are served the dignified meals that they deserve. We know that there are many members of our community who lack the reliable transportation needed to access affordable and nutritious food, as well as the means to prepare meals. These underserved individuals and families greatly benefit from our free mobile meal program and have highlighted the demand for our services. One such individual is a client and a dear friend named Danielle. So Danielle is an incredible mother of 3 amazing young boys who attends our weekly meals distribution at the food pantry in Safety Harbor. Danielle, like many other young mothers, struggles to support herself and her children each and every day. Without 360 Eats meal program, Danielle would have to make the difficult decision between food or keeping a safe roof over her boys' heads. And to add fuel to the fire, the spike in gas prices has greatly reduced her ability to access the assistance that they need. With the food truck, 360 Eats could ensure Danielle and her boys, along with all of the thousands of other individuals and families in similar positions, have a chance at survival by bringing them fresh, chef-prepared meals at times and locations that are convenient for them. Danielle's story isn't unique, and we see the same issue happening here in Oldsmar. Through 360's partnership with Oldsmar Cares, our team is able to feed 30 individuals and families every single week, with that number expected to substantially increase with the food truck operational. In fact, we've estimated that the 360's food truck could serve up to 2,500 individuals every month between Oldsmar and the rest of Pinellas County. So of course, food trucks are very expensive to operate, and without funding support, the trucks simply can't run. We will be submitting a funding request to the city this week to help support the truck's operating expenses here in Oldsmar, which includes insurance, gas, propane, supplies, and maintenance costs. We are asking all of you incredibly caring representatives of the city of Oldsmar to be the beacon of hope for our residents in need here in Oldsmar. Help us get the food truck on the road and help thousands of hungry people get the high-quality supplemental meals that they so desperately need while curbing food waste at the same time. Thank you. Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Cameron.
Thank you.
Anyone else on this side of the room would like to come on up, Gary?
Good evening, gentlemen, ladies.
Full name
For
and
what this
address.
gentleman was just talking about, with his food truck.
Full name and address.
Gary Lyons, 600 St. Pete Drive East, Oldsmar, Florida. Owner, operator of Awesome Automotive. With that being said, with the funding he's asking from the city to keep his trucks on the road, I'd like to offer some of my services to help you guys, help him to keep his truck on the road. All right?
Gary? Cameron, you get with Gary there. Anyone else on this side of the room, please? Come on up.
Hi, my name is James Hummel, 132 Arlington Avenue. Okay, don't take my freedom. It's a bright, sunny day. You're out on a bike ride or a run. Suddenly, at a stop sign, you yield. Approaching speeding car doesn't stop or yield. Yells out, "I'll run you over." Or the car that rolls through stop signs. No stop, no yield. Designated bike lanes have garbage or cans in bike lanes, forcing you into car lanes. Even bike riders, golf carts, drivers don't stop, don't yield. You have no idea what it's like to get hit by a car. Was hit at age 10 crossing street. Car speeding was clocked at 45 miles per hour in a 15-mile-per-hour zone. It's only a matter of time when next person is killed. Saying I'm sorry doesn't bring loved ones back. We are all accountable for our actions, decisions. Don't even think of taking my freedom to bike or run. It's great we're going to develop the city of Oldsmar, but we need to take into account the safety issues, because a state trooper going to work on Saturday morning observed a four-door Toyota pickup truck almost hit a lady because they had to run after her and pull her back. She would have got run over right down the street here. So I'd like the city council to take this up about getting these people to stop and people to yield, because somebody is going to get killed. Thank you for your time.
James.
Thank you.
Anyone else on this side would like? Come on up.
My name is John Paskert. I'm at 818 Christina Circle. If you would bear with me for just a moment. There was a young Army captain who'd been assigned to a unit in Korea. The unit had just had the battalion commander relieved of his command. The unit had no morale and could not accomplish its military mission. It was not a good situation. A short time after he got there, he overheard two non-commissioned officers talking. One was complaining what an SOB the new captain was. The other said, let me tell you about that captain. I have served with him before. You will never serve with a finer officer in the United States Army. Yes, he is tough and he is demanding, but he is fair, he is honest, and he is competent. I would follow him to the gates of hell, even if it was just me and him. A year later, when I was leaving Korea, the NCO who was complaining so bitterly about me came up and said, sir, if you and Sergeant Mack ever decide to go charging through the gates of hell, please let me know. I'd be proud to go with you. I tell you that story only to ask you the following question. When you get done occupying the position you're currently in, will there be any citizen of Oldsmar that says something like that about your leadership? Leave me to your thoughts.
Thank you, John. Anyone else on this side of the room would like to present to the council? Anyone else in the room? All right, I'm going to close the public open forum. I'm going to move on to the next item on the agenda, and that is the community minute, which will be led by our city clerk, Ann Nixon.
Stargazers, Thursday, July 21st, 8 to 9:30 p.m. Bring your telescope to take a glimpse into the great beyond. Limited number of scopes available to share during this free family-friendly viewing at Veterans Memorial Park. You can learn more at myoldsmar.com. But you don't have to be a stargazer to be a star. You can take a Heart Saver AED CPR course. So that's the automatic external defibrillator, you know, the clear, that thing. I think that's what it is, but you know, maybe I should take the course. It's Saturday, July 23rd, 9 o'clock in the morning at the fire station. You need to register ahead. It's $20 per resident and $20 for a certification card. So pre-registration is required. That's 813-749-1200. Or you could vote, right? So we got voting coming up in August. All voters received new cards. If you did not get one, call 727-464-8683. That's 727-464-8683. That's the Pinellas County Supervisor of Elections, and you should have gotten a new card because of the redistricting that happened. The deadline to register to vote for the August 23rd primary is July 25th. And just if you're not Democrat or not Republican, if you're not affiliated with the party, there still might be things to vote for on the primary election, so keep an eye out for that. And also, if you live north of Tampa Road, we moved your voting place. So it's no longer at Fire Rescue, it's got the Recreation Center, though it should be a lot more room, some more elbow stuff. Supervisor of Elections excited about it, so you should be too, I hope. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is approval of additional of new agenda items 4, 12, 14, 19, and 26. Need a motion?
Motion to add the new agenda items?
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify, discussion? Anyone? All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is awards and recognition. The presentation of the Council Manager Award for June 2022 by Councilmember Katie Gannon. Katie, you got it.
Thank you, Mayor.
Parents of a 13-year-old boy are heartbroken and demanding action after he took his own life. ABC Action News reporter Heather Lee sharing their story tonight and how the community is stepping in to help. Of a 13.
That face, that sweet face. My name's Katie Gannon. I have the honor tonight of presenting the Council Manager Award, technically for June 2022. I recently had the opportunity to better get to know Liz Martin of Operation Jack's Village. And I thought I knew what Operation Jack's Village was about. And I had no idea. This group of people, these kids, Liz Martin and Paul Martin, have opened their doors, quite literally, to this entire community and the children of this entire community, and have created something amazing. And I am so grateful for the opportunity tonight to recognize them, to tell you more about them, and to challenge you to participate with them. I know that Liz is a data-driven person. I'm a bit of a data-driven person as well. Operation Jack's Village is data-driven, and that's why it works. So I have a little bit of data tonight. Anne, what number do you have?
4,804.
Open your card. 4,804.
The number of days God gave us to love and learn from Jack here on earth, November 12, 2006 to January 7, 2020.
4,804 days. And since that time, first, 7 other babies were saved because of him being an organ donor. And Liz and Paul were able to let us shine some light on something that we don't dare to even squint at. Raising awareness for adolescent suicide, adolescent mental health issues is not something that's easy to talk about. It's not something, apparently, we can talk about very well in schools. It's tough to talk about at home. And when I met with Liz, she helped me understand, by using data, by breaking the information down, how Operation Jack's Village is helping our kids. And, you know, one of the things that she brought to my attention right away that I didn't realize, where they start at Survive, right? So Survive was, first, there's lots of acronyms. I'm not going to challenge you to remember all of them, but, you know, Survive. So you have kids in a community, right? And you think, okay, we need to help them. There's issues there. We need to give them a place to go. We need to give them counseling. We need to give them resources. Perhaps they need food. Perhaps they need money, whatever it is. But what we don't realize is they're not starting from zero. Right? These kids are starting from overwhelm. They're starting from too much homework, too many extracurricular activities. They're starting with what I have learned are called ACEs. And ACEs, which I think all of us have, are adverse child experiences. These are incredibly common, from 0 to 17 years old, you know, experiencing violence or neglect as a child, growing up with substance abuse problems, child or adult, growing up with instability at home, financially, your parents are separated, whatever the case may be, household member in jail or prison, depression, anxiety, eating disorder, witnessing family violence, having a family member die by suicide, or knowing someone. And so the first thing they do at Operation Jack's Village is figure out, where is this child at? Are they just surviving? And where are they surviving? Are they at a -2? Are they at a -7? Is it complete overwhelm? Because until you address those issues first, you can't even get to the rest of it. You can't tell them about self-care. You can't tell them they need to get more sleep and exercise, and then their academics will go better, because they're just surviving. They don't have food at home. There's not stability. The first thing they do is figure out how to make sure that these kids are surviving first. Andrew, what number do you have?
492.
492. Tell me what it says.
The number of interviews Liz Martin conducted with local kids about school, family, fears, goals, and more.
492. Those are kids in our community that this woman here interviewed, sat down. First, it's a miracle. I don't know if you've talked to young people these days between, you know, the ages of 14 and 24, but it's hard. It's really hard to get them to open up, right? They don't know who a safe person is. And even if they find a safe person, is this person judging me? Is what I'm going to say valid? Is it good enough? And so Liz was able to sit down with these kids, 492 of these local kids, and get them to talk and get them to open up about their fears, their dreams, their pressures, school, homework, AP classes. What am I going to do with the rest of my life? I'm about to graduate high school and I have no idea. I'm supposed to go to college. I have to fill out these applications. I got to get to practice. I have to be up in the morning at 5 so I can get to school on time. I don't know if you guys know what time middle school and high school starts here. It's early. It's early. Felicia, what card do you have?
64.
64.
The percentage of kids who felt excessive stress and overwhelm from academics, extracurriculars, and outside pressure.
So of those 492 kids that Liz interviewed, 64% of them, these are local kids, 64% of them feel excessive stress, pressure, all of those things that's, in Liz's words, sliding them past their zero, sliding them down into overwhelm. It's a constant battle to get back to the middle. In fact, even if you're up above your zero, it's a constant battle to stay there. Once they can get a young person who has come in and they've assessed and gotten them past that survival point, they can then help them begin to thrive. They've got Operation Jack's Village has partnerships with all kinds of different groups. It's really incredible. They can do Myers-Briggs tests. They have partnered with Vita Navis to assess kids and find out, what's your purpose? What's your identity? Interestingly, most young boys are looking for a purpose, and most young girls are looking for an identity. And I didn't know that. And it kind of makes sense to me in retrospect, especially with the pressures of social media and to conform and gender norms. It was really interesting to me to learn that. And to help these kids begin to thrive, you can, after we're out of just surviving, we can provide things like social support, family, friends, mentors, community, businesses. We can begin to give them the tools to manage their own thoughts and emotions, manage their time, learn how to do homework, make a schedule. A lot of these kids who are just surviving, they have no idea. They have no idea. They can start to then set boundaries. You talk to these young kids about boundaries, they have no idea. And so they end up, kind of absorbing things from their friends, things from their teachers, things from their parents. And they end up internalizing that. And so getting to self-care, getting to those pieces of the puzzle, the mental health puzzle, first takes coming out of survival and then figuring out how do they want to thrive, which direction do they want to grow in. And that's really special and, of course, data intensive. And Liz has access to more data than you can imagine. And the way in which she uses it is quite special because not all kids want to go to college. Not everybody needs to take AP classes and exams. Not everybody wants to, go to a 4-year college, get a degree. Some kids are interested in trades. Some kids are interested in jobs that, Lord, I've never even heard of them. But we need to let them tell us and not let our predispositions about their personality or what was the tradition in our family kind of dictate that. And I saw how powerful those influences can be when she told me some stories about kids who just wanted to be heard. Everybody in my life wants me to be a realtor because they're all realtors, but I just want to be outside. I just want to work outside. Wow. Liz and I talked about how 15 minutes can make an incredible difference, just a 15-minute conversation. And all of these things are incredibly measurable, right? So once we get into SOAR, right, we have now navigate in real life, navigate IRL. IRL means in real life for the non-digitally literate. It's new to me. And so essentially what they've created now is an option for kids who are, wanting more out of their education, need an alternative to traditional education. Kids who want to kind of immerse themselves in competency-based learning instead of just kind of following along and checking the boxes. And what they've been able to do is create ways to measure their progress along an actual academic scheme. Like, for example, they can develop a work package with tasks. These kids are getting Six Sigma trained. See, Felicia knows. Six Sigma? I just learned. And from this, what's really cool is everyone in this room benefits. The kids feel valued, supported, validated. If we're supporting them, then these kids want to stay here. Maybe we can, get them an apprenticeship at a local business. Maybe we can find a way to give them a glimpse into the career that they're interested in. Tom, what number do you have?
I have 1,186.
1,186.
The number of businesses in Oldsmar per Pinellas County economic development data dated May 31st, 2022.
1,186. Okay, so fair disclosure, that's 34677, not just incorporated Oldsmar. However, that's a lot of businesses. Our area is an incubator for this. This is the perfect talent pipeline. I know the Chamber developed the Manufacturing Council. This is the exact kind of area where these kids can feed into. And it's so interesting that they want a chance to matter and the skills that can help them matter. They want a chance to contribute without any judgment. And they may not know what they want to do. Maybe they want to glimpse into a couple of different areas. But if we show them that there's a path, then there's hope, right? Then they have hope. And we as a community can provide that. That's what they're challenging us to do, is to create that access. Everyone in this room has access in some way. We just heard about the community food kitchen. That's incredible. We heard about the theater program. There's so many ways that we can be connecting with each other. I know they're already working with lots of local nonprofits, including Oldsmar Cares. If you've seen their t-shirts out at the different city events, like at Oldsmar Days or Celebrate Oldsmar, if you see somebody with this wristband on, they're OJV. And there is a way for all of us to connect with them. Hope and resiliency. Hope and resiliency. Dan, what number do you have?
I have 988.
988.
The new suicide and mental health crisis line, no longer difficult to remember. 1-800-NUMBER.
I meant that it's no longer a 1-800 number. So,
no longer it says no longer a difficult to remember.
Difficult to remember 1-800 number, yeah. So it used to be that there was a national hotline, yay, okay, a national hotline. Oh, I'm in a crisis. I definitely want to look up that 1-800 number. Now, the efficacy of these various tools and phone numbers is debatable to some extent for our young people. There's certain tools they have in the school system to use. Again, efficacy is not entirely there. There's good intentions. A lot of different organizations have good intentions, right? But, the road to... So what we can do better, though, is do it locally. Make it very clear where kids can go for support and help. It's wearing it's wearing a wristband. It's wearing a blue wristband or a blue t-shirt. It's right there. It's my neighbor. It's my friend. It's somebody who's easily accessible, not a stranger. The new phone number, 988, awesome. But it has to be a little bit more. It has to be more reaching out locally. And smart cities can bring people together by championing our youth. Our city is actually very proud to be partnering with Operation Jack's Village to create a physical space for this youth, this demographic that needs place. They need a sense of place, not just existence online, a way to come together physically. And hopefully over at Mobley Bayou, we'll be seeing soon a physical space that's not, play structures for little kids or a dog park. It's a place for these kids to do what they want to do, designed by them, created by them with their input and their ideas. Just like Navigate IRL. They came up with that. They came up with that. Jared, what number do you have?
93.
93.
the number of suicides of young adults ages 10 to 24 in Pinellas County from 2016 to 2022. 10 to 14 age range 6, 15 to 19 age range 33, 20 to 24 age range 54. The youngest is 12. Jack was 13.
Thanks. That's a really hard number to hear. 93. Not one more. Not one more, was what Liz said to me. Steve, what number do you have?
925. That is the number of days since Jack left us, Tuesday, January 7th, 2020, until today.
925. The number of days since he left us. And what have we done in those 925 days? I'll tell you what, this group right here, these kids who created the videos you're up there seeing, I have no rights to this, by the way. I just made that. But everything that you see, they're producing, they're creating. It's coming from inside of them. And what OJV does is give them a vehicle to express that. And it's incredibly, incredibly special. So I challenge us, 925 days. So tomorrow's 926 and 927 after that. So what can we do as a city, as a community, to continue to support this organization? Part of it is recognition. And it's my distinct honor to recognize Operation Jack's Village and Liz Martin for the June 2022 Council Manager Award. I want to recognize just quickly their 2022 Junior Board of Directors. That's right, they have a Junior Board of Directors. How cool, right? Way to empower, recognize, validate. Angelo, Blake, Bryce, Ella, Leah, Sean, and Serenity. I won't make them stand, but I might make them get up here for a picture. And their Board of Directors and Officers, Joanne Todd, Director of Marketing and President. Danielle Hollenbeck, Director of Mental Health Assessment and Resource Coordination. Sheldon Duncan, Director of Pastoral Services and Vice President. Don Hunt, Director of Finance and Compliance and our Treasurer. Renee Treese, Secretary, and Tiara Caleb, Director of Thrive Programming. And of course, Liz Martin, Founder, CEO, Mom in Chief to more kids than you can imagine. And in her spare time, she also is probably the most sought after aerospace supply chain demand individuals in this area with Raytheon. She's an incredible human. I've seen it. It's set up. There's 4 screens. It's crazy. I wish I had 4. I only have 2 at home. But in any event, I would love to welcome you all up here. Please accept these awards from the City Council and our City Manager. Got one more video, but I do want to give Liz an opportunity to speak should she so be inclined.
Video, by the way, back both of these videos. This is our Taylor here. She's taken over. She's fantastic. She's taking over our Instagram. So thank you so much for this award and for the recognition. But that's not why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I really appreciate all the backing from the city. It's been really incredibly important. I've even heard from folks who've said they've come looking and asking questions about what can my teenager do, and even the city, everybody in the city has said something about it. So really grateful. They do usually find us on our website, but we are on the social media also. And Navigate is our next big move. And we are looking forward, very much forward to working with a lot more of the nonprofits in the area. And I would love to see some, I had no idea what was going on with the truck. That's a great idea. Very, yeah. Like, I think we have a future. So, and I know I do with Masuda, because we've already discussed, and there's things, lots of things that we can do, but it's about the relationships. The thing that's missing in our culture is the relationships. And as soon as they, you know, get through or get through grade school, they kind of fall off the map, right? And we start kind of looking at them as, well, they should know better, they're adults. No, they're like young adults. No, they're in major transition. And it's a major time for your brain to reprune, is what it's called. You got a real education on. And I'm learning a lot. I'm sharing a lot. And if you want to know more, go out to operationjuxvillage.org. And we can educate you some more. But it needs to stop. Not one more.
Play that second one. Go ahead and play that second video.
Katie, thank you so much, Councilmember Ganem. Great presentation.
Thank you for the
And
time.
Liz, thank you for all you do for our community. Thank you so much. We're all right. Speak for everyone up there. We're here to support you. All right, with that, we're going to move on to the next item on the agenda, the presentation of the Business of the Quarter Award for second quarter 2022, and that will be done by Councilmember Andrew Knapp.
Thank you, Mayor. It is my privilege to award the Business of the Quarter for the second quarter of 2022 to Trifecta Networks. So I'm going to read a little bit about them. Although the Trifecta Networks company was formed in 2018, Trifecta has had a long legacy of being a part of the Oldsmar community. After CEO and President Chris Topke purchased Trifecta Networks, there was no question Oldsmar was where they wanted to stay. They saw major value in the central location, highly developed business environment, responsive government, and strong business support network that Oldsmar provides. Trifecta Networks took over a 32,000 square foot warehouse and office space at 4027 Tampa Road in January 2018. As they approach their 5-year anniversary, their portfolio has expanded greatly, combining high-quality, pre-owned equipment with a robust catalog of OEM partnerships, including Juniper, Mist, Palo Alto, Dell, HP, and others, and expert professional services and maintenance solutions, all designed to help their customers maximize their return on investment on their IT infrastructure investments. Trifecta firmly believes that its people are its strongest asset. There isn't a more committed, more loyal, or more enthusiastic group of people than those that work at Trifecta. The trifecta culture is one of positivity, encouraging each other and living on the solution side of problems. They relay that attitude outside of their office walls as well. Trifecta prides itself on bringing the same approach to its whole community. As members of the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce, Trifecta is highly engaged with local events and community projects. They are a proud corporate sponsorships of the Chamber's annual golf tournament and took an active role in helping donate 200 bikes to the Holiday Sharing Fund this past holiday season, which I think is a pretty big chunk of what they accumulated in total. Trifecta employees also dedicate their time and monetary contributions to local charities, including Metropolitan Ministries and Feeding Tampa Bay. They look forward to continued involvement in their community and leave a lasting footprint here in Oldsmar. And with that, if you would all please welcome me and bring up Brian Metzger on to accept the award on behalf of Trifecta.
So I had some notes here, but after hearing Cameron's story, Liz's story, I feel that this is a little undeserving of this. While we're very proud of what we're doing, you guys have some incredible stories. So I'm very interested in having some continuous conversations and see how we can get involved in any way. But my name is Brian Metzger. I'm the IT Lifecycle Director for Trifecta Networks, board member for the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce, and board member for the Kids Pedal Power. From the Trifecta family, I would like to thank the entire council for the recognition. While the recognition is not our focus, it is something that allows us to stop and pause for a second so we can look back, see how far we've come, and then motivates us to move forward. In 2019, our CEO wrote a vivid vision. The vivid vision consisted of what he passionately wanted the company to look like in 3 years. So this was in 2019. I want to share a few of our team's accomplishment over that period of time. In his vivid vision, he wanted to become the best places to work. So thinking back 2019, since then we have accomplished that twice. Our customers he wanted our customers to absolutely love and rely on us. During the pandemic, the supply chain across the world was flipped upside down. While most of the world was shut down, Trifecta Networks, being an essential business, became many local and nationwide companies' reliable IT infrastructure source. He wanted to be the absolutely best places anyone has ever worked. There isn't a more committed, more loyal, more enthusiastic group of people who work other than those who work at Trifecta Networks. They make Trifecta Networks absolutely the best place anyone has ever worked, and that is evident in everything that they do. We're proud to be part of the Oldsmar community and appreciate the continuous support. And again, thank you for the recognition.
Looks like you guys timed it perfectly. Thank you, Councilmember Knapp. Good job.
Thank you, Mayor.
We're going to move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the Community Redevelopment Agency, which will be handled by our city manager, Felicia Donnelly.
Vice Mayor Buckman.
Thank you, Felicia. Need to disclose that I currently live in the CRA. I have filed my paperwork already with Ann Nixon for tonight's vote, and she has a copy of that on record.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you. Item number 3. This is a public hearing for the second and final reading of the development agreement with Devin S. Rushnell, LLC, for the city-owned property adjacent to the library. The city owns approximately 9.446 acres, more or less, of property which includes the Oldsmar City Library and other parcels between St. Petersburg Drive, State Street, and East Arlington Avenue, located in the community redevelopment area. On October 6, 2020, the City Council authorized the city manager to enter into discussions with Devin S. Rushnell, LLC, for the purpose of negotiating a development agreement for the city-owned property with the intent of selling 6.2 acres of the parcel to Rushnell for the purpose of developing the site with a mixed-use development consisting of 82 residential townhomes, 18 of which will have a live-work component. The city's land development code, section 14.7, outlines the process for the negotiation and execution of development agreements. In accordance with Florida statutes 163.380, real property in the community redevelopment area shall be sold at a value determined to be in the public interest. To determine the value, the agency or municipality shall take into account and give consideration to the long-term benefits to be achieved by the county, municipality, or community development agency resulting from incurring short-term losses or costs in the disposal of such real property, the uses provided in such plan, the restrictions upon and the covenants, conditions, and obligations assumed by the purchaser or leasee or by the county, municipality, or community redevelopment agency retaining the property, and the objectives of such plan for the prevention and reoccurrence of slum or blighted areas. To demonstrate that the value is determined to be in the public interest, the following is presented. Number one, the long-term benefits of the proposed development agreement include furthering the city's goal to create a vibrant town center consistent with the city's town center code, the county-wide rules, the city's comprehensive plan, and the town center plan, and creating the long-term benefit of the additional ad valorem tax base. Number two, the uses provided in the proposed development agreement include a mixed-use development containing 82 residential townhomes, 18 of which will have a live-work component, enhanced streetscape, and public art. These uses support the city's goal to create a vibrant town center. In addition to the purchase price of $2.8 million, based on an appraisal procured by the city in December 2020, the obligations of Rushnell include the following: a performance bond in the amount of the total cost of the improvements, payment of all applicable impact fees, construction, landscaping, and maintenance of public space, including within the city's right-of-way along St. Petersburg Drive and State Street. Public space will include public art. Provision of access and maintenance easements is required for public utilities. Relocation of the city's water main to the west side of St. Petersburg Drive. Performance of all site due diligence, including but not limited to any additional surveys and environmental assessments. The replat of the existing parcels of land. All site work, including but not limited to the demolition or relocation of existing structures. Buy-in into the city's stormwater system. Connection of the property to the city's reclaimed water system. Submission of a final site plan, including signage and landscape plan, through the city's formal review process. Obtain all required permits. Demonstration of concurrency and submission of a concurrency test statement as required by the city's land development code. Demonstration of compliance to the town center code, including but not limited to the architectural design and pattern book. Number four, the proposed development agreement supports the city's objective to prevent the recurrence of slum or blighted areas by eliminating the unsightly vacant lot, supporting the city's vision of creating a vibrant town center, ensuring the construction of the proposed project within the specified time period, and the procurement of a performance bond. The attached documents that are attached to the development agreement and all the exhibits, the legal advertisement, and the property owner's notice. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. I am going to open up the public hearing. Are there any opponents or opponents that would like to speak on this issue? Please come up and state your name and address. With that, I'm going to close the public hearing. Is there any closing statements?
No, sir.
All right, then I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this item from council? No? All right. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Greb?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Buckman?
Yes.
Councilmember Knapp?
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon?
Yes.
Mayor Saraki?
Yes.
Development agreement with Devon S. Rushnell LLC for the city-owned property adjacent to the library is adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you, Ann. Item number 4, next on the agenda for the Community Redevelopment Agency, will also be handled by our city manager, Felicia Donnelly.
Item number 4, discussion of city council attendance at the July 20th Community Visioning Workshop. The Community Visioning Workshop will take place tomorrow night, July 20th, 2022. As a workshop is not a noticed meeting, best practices for perception and the Sunshine Law is for the mayor and councils not to attend. Additionally, city council's presence could affect the input received from the residents, even if the council does not intend to do so. To protect the integrity and objectivity of the workshop, I recommend that the mayor and council members do not attend or comment. Doing so will help ensure the consultant presents a vision that is created from the community.
Thank you. Does anybody have any comments on this? Anybody like to speak? Andrew? Councilmember Knapp?
I've got a question. So, I agree, well, before I ask the question, I'd just like to state that I think this is an appropriate course of action for us to remain out of the picture, because the whole intent behind pursuing this route is to basically take feedback, whether it's for proponents, opponents of anything related to what's been done historically, where we're headed. So as an extension of that, I feel besides ourselves, I personally feel it would be important that our households don't participate either. I'm just throwing that out there because I know that there are people that live within the CRA that can be affected by this. At the same time, I think it's just, it might be best practice, almost as if it's like a double-blind study that is performed in a medical trial. The least amount of influence that we can create or pass along to that activity that the city manager has worked diligently on to set up and create the opportunity for our residents to participate, I think is the best course of action, but there's nothing that would prevent anybody from doing so. So I just want to put that out there.
Okay. Councilmember Gannon?
Yeah, I had a similar thought. I think it is very important that we all refrain from attending, as we kind of talked about at the Council Rules and Procedures work session, about attending, whether it's a advisory board meeting or a quasi-judicial board meeting, our presence and sometimes the presence of our spouses, or, it can influence the process in ways we might not realize, even if it's just the perception, even if there is no real attempt to influence, or, that weight that is given to us being there, sitting there, it might cause someone to not share something they would otherwise share, or if our spouse were there, then they might give more weight to what our spouse might say. So I do think that that's incredibly important. I agree with the recommendation. We're paying a consultant to do this process, to do it right. We really don't want to, sort of inhibit that process in any way. So I think that's really smart. So I would make a motion that city council members and household members of the first degree do not attend the July 20 Community Visioning Workshop.
Okay, any other discussion?
I'll second that motion.
Motion second. It's for those reasons, but of course I'm not going. My wife's not going either. But it was for those reasons behind it. So.
Yeah, both my wife and I have opted not to attend.
Okay.
So no issues on our end.
Okay, do we need a motion for that, Tom, for this
No, you
item?
don't need a motion to do that. There'd just be a consensus, but you do have a motion on the floor, so you can act upon it.
Okay. Before I do that, I want to just discuss something with the council. Sure. So I've been going to the Florida Redevelopment Agency Academy, and the last class I was at Friday was planning strategy for redevelopment. And one of the things that they brought up in here was that us, as we are the CRA board, okay, very important that that this tomorrow workshop for the citizens is a vision statement that they will write for our CRA next door, the property that's next door here. So that vision statement is so important for us, so that we, as the board, can come back and write a mission statement for us, for our city. Long story short, I was reading this manual at night. I texted Felicia, I think it was 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, what's our mission statement? She goes, I'll get back to you in the morning. No, for CRA.
Oh,
Mission
for
statement
CRA,
And she sent me a message, I don't know, was it 6:30? 6:30 a.m., I was getting ready to go to class, and then she says, we don't have one. I said, okay, well, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get a mission statement, so we know what road we're gonna be on, once that visioning statement is done tomorrow night by our citizens. And there's a bunch of other stuff in here. If anybody wants to share this book, I've learned so much over the last month from going to these 2 classes about where we should be headed as a city for our CRA. It's going to expire in '26, and Felicia and I have many conversations about that. Renew it, make it bigger, add a district, add area. We've been talking about it. And so it's just something that we should together as a council review and talk about someday. And I think we're on the right track, as Andrew just said, and Katie and everyone else. I think we're on the right track, and we're moving forward. Our city's moving forward. With that, any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is the consent docket, and Ann Nixon, our city clerk, will read that.
Item number 5, approve minutes of the June 21, 2022 council meeting. Item number 6, approve minutes of the June 28, 2022 work session on rules of procedure. Item number 7, approve minutes of the June 28, 2022 council tour of the BMX track. Item number 8, approve payment to legal counsel for June 2022 legal services. Item number 9, award contract 2022-012-ITB electric meter retrofitting to Beal Electric Incorporated.
Tongue tire. Anyone wish to pull anything? With that, I'm looking for a motion for the consent docket.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second?
Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 10, approve reappointment of Brenda, I'm going to say this right, Gary, how do you say that? Giannakis. And she had to work this evening, so I don't believe she's here. She's as an alternate member of the planning board. Does anybody want to discuss anything about this? No, I think she's a great asset to our community.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah,
Motion to reappoint, Mayor.
all right, I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. All right. Item 11, approve reappointment of Mark Brill, David Emos, and Cleveland Smith to the Board of Adjustments. 2 of you are here. You want to come?
3.
Oh, 3 are here. I didn't see you back there. Come on. You want to come up, anybody, and say hi? I knew you would, David.
Give him a chance.
Dave Enos, 404 Shore Drive, Oldsmar. I've enjoyed being a member of the Board of Adjustment and would like to continue in that capacity if it pleases the council. Thank you.
Great.
Mark, still up for it?
Yeah,
Good.
still up for it.
Good.
One of the founding members, I guess, 30 years in service, so I consider your approval a great pleasure.
It's a pleasure to have you guys.
Cleveland Smith, born and raised here, and I love the way the city of Oldsmar is in the direction it's headed. I grew up on the cattle ranches here back in the day, next to Boot Ranch, Jackson Ranch, DNS, and James Bryant at that Keystone and East Lake. Used to be just kind of 77. But I wish to serve more time if warranted. Thank you.
Thank you, guys, for all your hard work over the years. Thank you. With that, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Moved.
But a second.
Second.
Any other discussion?
That's the board I served on before coming up here, one of them, and all 3 of them, just fantastic. So thank you for continuing to serve, all 3 of you.
Thank you all. And
All
thanks
right.
for coming tonight. It's great to see
Yeah,
you.
thank you guys for coming. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 12, approve appointment of Sandy Grimes as the city appointed trustee of the firefighter pension board. This is a new agenda item. Sandy couldn't make it this evening. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
How about a second?
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Thank
All
you
in
for
favor
serving.
signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is the city attorney, Tom Trask. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 13 is a public hearing for the second reading of ordinance 2022-06. I'll read that by title only. Ordinance 2022-06, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, repealing Section 38-3 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Oldsmar concerning discharge of firearms, making related findings, providing for codification of severability and an effective date. This is the second and final reading of this ordinance 2022-06. And it was first read on June 21st, 2022, and there were no changes since that hearing.
This is a public hearing. I'm going to open the public hearing. Is there anybody here that would like to speak on this issue? With that, I'm going to close the public hearing. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Oh, roll call.
Councilmember Graber?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Buckman?
Yes.
Councilmember Knapp?
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon?
Yes.
Mayor Saraki?
Yes.
Ordinance 2022-06, repealing Section 38-3 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Oldsmar concerning discharge of firearms is adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you. Item number 14 is a public hearing for the first reading of ordinance 2022-03. I'll read that ordinance by title only. Ordinance 2022-03, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending Section 14.7.5 of the Land Development Code, requiring 3 open houses before entering into development agreements for properties owned by the city and located within the Community Redevelopment Area, CRA, and providing for an effective date of this ordinance. That was the first reading of ordinance 2022-03 by title only.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. I'm going to open the public hearing. Does anybody wish to speak on this item? With that, I will close the public hearing. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
A second?
Second?
Any other discussion?
I know we've already talked about this, but this is the first reading. I'm so glad that we're officially adding this to the Land Development Code. It's no longer an option. It's no longer something to add. It's going to be in our code. So thank you, Tom, for preparing it.
All right. Anything else? All right. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Graber?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Buckman?
Yes.
Councilmember Knapp?
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon?
Yes.
Mayor Saraki?
Yes.
First reading of ordinance 2022-03, amending section 14.7.5 of the Oldsmar Land Development Code, requiring 3 open houses before entering into development agreements for properties owned by the city and located within the community redevelopment area, passes with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you. Next item is item number 15 on your agenda. This is a public hearing and for the second reading of ordinance 2022-07. I'll read that by title only. Ordinance 22-07, ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending Section 42-116 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Oldsmar concerning hunting and weapons, making related findings, providing for codification, severability, and effective date. That was the second final reading of that ordinance 2022-07 by title only. It was first read on June 21st, 2022. There have been no changes since that first reading.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. I'm going to open the public hearing for anyone who'd like to speak on this item. With that, I will close the public hearing. Need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Yes, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I have some questions in regards to this process that I want to address and try to understand as one of the newer council members here. I served on the Ordinance Review Committee, went through this process. We read through these ordinances. Tom, you were there. I'm trying to figure out where the disconnect is, where we weren't looking at state statutes, and it took an organization like this group that came forward and said, hey, you've got a problem with your code. Why didn't we catch that first? Why weren't we being proactive to that process versus reactive to an outside organization's letter?
So the answer to the question is there was language in the code, and it specifically provided that in these ordinances dealing with firearm prevention, that language that we thought at the time would be sufficient enough to cover that exemption. And since that time, and we haven't been challenged. And since that time, we have taken a deeper dive into it, and I've had one of the other attorneys in the law firm take a look and do some of the constitutional review, some of the constitutional provisions regarding preemption. And we have found some case law that was adopted in 2021 that we thought was important to address. And so we're bringing that's the reason we're bringing it forward now to resolve that issue.
Okay, thank you.
All right, are there any discussion on that? Oh, roll call, please.
Councilmember Graber?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Buckman?
Yes.
Councilmember Knapp?
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon?
Yes.
Mayor Saraki?
Yes.
Ordinance 2022-07, amending section 42-116 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Oldsmar concerning hunting and weapons is adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Okay, item number 16 on your agenda is the public hearing for the first reading of ordinance 2022-08. I'll read that by title only. Ordinance 2022-08, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending Section 2-1 of the Town Center Development Code of the City of Oldsmar, defining restrictive uses, making related findings, providing for codification, severability, and effective date. That was the first reading of ordinance 2022-08 by title only.
This is a public hearing. I'm going to open up the public hearing. Would anybody like to speak on this item? With that, I will close the public hearing. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion. Second? I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this? Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Graber?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Buckman?
Yes.
Councilmember Knapp?
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon?
Yes.
Mayor Saraki?
Yes.
First reading of ordinance 2022-08, amending section 2-1 of the Town Center Development Code of the City of Oldsmar, defining restrictive uses, passes with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Next item on your agenda is item number 17. This is a public hearing for the second reading of ordinance 2022-09. I'll read that ordinance by title only. Ordinance 2022-09, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending section 18-33 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Oldsmar regarding authority during declared emergencies, making related findings, providing for codification, severability, and an effective date. That was the second final reading of ordinance 2022-09 by title only. It was first read on June 21st, 2022, and there have been no changes since that date.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. I am going to open up the public hearing. Would anybody like to speak on this item? With that, I'm going to close the public hearing. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion. I have a second.
Second?
A motion and a second. Any other discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Councilmember Graber?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Buckman?
Yes.
Councilmember Knapp?
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon?
Yes.
Mayor Saraki?
Yes.
Ordinance 2022-09, amending section 18-33 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Oldsmar regarding authority during declared emergencies is adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you. Item number 18 is a resolution. I'm going to read that resolution by title only as well. It's for updating local permit fees. This is Resolution 2022-10, a resolution of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, repealing Resolution 2014-05, providing for the adoption of revised permit inspection and plans examination fees in accordance with Section 3.5.A of the City of Oldsmar's Land Development Code and providing for an effective date. That was the reading of Resolution 2022-10 by title only. I would suggest, however, in Section 3, it's to allow me to change the effective date from July 1, 2022 to August 1st, 2022. This ordinance had been prepared a couple of months ago. We thought it would make it to the July meetings, to the June meetings, and it didn't make it until now. So if we change the date to August 1st, 2022, I think that would be the best thing to do. So it's not retroactive, it's prospective.
Okay, thank you. I have a motion.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, a discussion on this item.
Can I just make sure that the motion is for the adoption of the resolution as well as changing the effective date to August 1st, 2022?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I caught that date.
You're a good man.
Well, thank you for fixing it. All right, any other discussion? All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, item number 19 is approved settlement offer for fines from code enforcement board cases, CE 07-27R1, CE 07-55R2, and CE 2010 045. This is a new agenda item, and Commissioner Knapp wants to address something.
Thank you, Tom. Prior to us addressing this item, I just wanted to let everybody know that I sought counsel from the city attorney, and per Florida statutes with the Chapter 112 governing municipal code of ethics, I will be abstaining from voting and deliberating on this issue. I've already submitted Form 8B to the city clerk.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's just so that we have the connection, who is this individual that is asking for the fine reduction in relation to you?
He is my father.
Okay, all right, so we've got that clear then?
Yep.
Okay, so the purpose of this request is to obtain your authorization to accept a $4,500 settlement offer from Tony Pita on behalf of Patrick Knapp, one of the owners of the property that is located at 301 Woodward Avenue in Oldsmar, in exchange for a release of the Code Enforcement Board liens. As some background, in 2007, the Code Enforcement Board found that the subject property was in repeat violation of 2 code violations consisting of nuisance prohibitions, abandoned, wrecked, and dismantled inoperable motor vehicles, and a lien was placed on the property. The property came into compliance on March 5th, 2007. Also in 2007, the Code Enforcement Board found the subject property in second repeat violation of the aforementioned code violations, and the repeat violation came into compliance on April 25th, 2007. Finally, in 2010, the Code Enforcement Board found that the subject property in repeat violation of the aforementioned code violations in the property came into compliance then on April 22nd, 2010. Recently, I was contacted by an individual by the name of Tony Pita regarding the assessed fines. Settlement discussions or negotiations ensued as of July 6th. Mr. Pita made a settlement offer in the amount of $4,500 in exchange for a release of the above code enforcement liens. The total due at this point is $8,221.31. The breakdown of that, just so that you know, the principal is calculated. Sorry, I'm going to break that out. Yeah, I had the breakdown here. Hang on. So the principal on the liens, just so that you know, it's for the first lien, the principal amount was $1,500. There was a $35 administrative fee and a $27 recording fee. The second case, the principal amount is $1,900, and there was a $35 administrative fee as well. And the last case was $600 with a $35 administrative fee and $17 recording fee. There will also be a recording fee of approximately $10 to record the release of lien once it's done if it's a one-page document. So there was a total of about $4,100 in principal amount and costs that the city incurred. The rest of the dollar amount between that $4,100 or $4,200 and the $8,200 on the total is related specifically to interest. There's about about $4,000 in interest that is accrued. I would also advise you that under Article 4, Section 10 of the Florida Constitution, these liens do not attach to homesteaded property. So if this was the homesteaded property, there's a high likelihood the city will not ever be able to collect that lien if we were to prosecute a code enforcement foreclosure case. And I'd also remind you that Florida statute, I think it's 16210 or 16211, also provides the same thing, that these liens do not attach to homesteaded property, and so we would not be successful there. So with those things in mind, in addition to the fact that the code enforcement liens will disappear in the year 2027 for the first two, and 2030 for the second one, they'll disappear because they're only good for 20 years. I think it is beneficial to the city to settle the matter now, avoid attorney's fees, and avoid waiting for a possible payoff sometime in the future. And I think that getting more than the principal amount that's due is a good result in this case. And so my recommendation, and on behalf of the city manager's recommendation, we're asking that you accept this offer of $4,500.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
How about a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Yes.
I just have a couple quick questions. Tom, are you aware of the current status of the property? Is it in compliance at this time?
It is in compliance in all three of the cases. The last case came into compliance in April of 2010.
Okay. And does this settlement in any way inhibit our ability to enforce the same violation should it be out of compliance in the future?
No, it doesn't inhibit us. We can always move forward with any code violation on the property. This is just to address the 3 lanes that occurred 12 years and 15 years ago.
And what's the benefit? Is it to potentially sell the property? Why would it be negotiated at this time? Do you have any indication?
No, I don't know why the request was made now. It may be for refinancing, it may be for sale. You know, I don't know.
Okay.
But the offer was made, and I have a legal obligation to bring it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's more than the principal, which is great. So thank you.
All right, any other discussion?
Yeah, it's more than the principal. These get settled different ways. I think this is a good result.
I do too. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
You are done.
Yes, sir.
Next item on the agenda is the city manager, Felicia Donnelly.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 20 is to authorize the city attorney to draft an ordinance amending Chapter 70 of the Code of Ordinances to revise water and sewer rates, miscellaneous service charges, and water and sewer impact fees as recommended in the Water and Sewer Rate and Fee Sufficiency Analysis Report. On October 14th, 2016, City Council adopted Ordinance 2016-08, setting the water and sewer utility rates for the next 4 years, effective January 1st, 2017. The final step of the 4-year progressive rate adjustments were implemented on October 1st, 2019. On January 19, 2021, the City Council adopted Resolution 2021-03, creating future Master Water and Sewer Board sewer bond issuance guidelines. The resolution requires periodic rate reviews to ensure that the water and sewer system rates are sufficient to meet the operating needs, debt service requirements, and the funding for the water and sewer system capital projects. At the June 11, 2021 meeting, City Council authorized the award of the contract PB 20-026 to Raftellus Financial Consultants, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $57,510 to provide a comprehensive water and sewer system rate study. The study includes a rate and fee sufficiency analysis with financial projections for the next 5 years, fiscal year 2023 to fiscal year 2027, and recommendations for the necessary water, wastewater, and reclaimed water system rates for the same time period to help ensure the financial stability of the system. Water and wastewater system miscellaneous service charges and impact fees were also evaluated. The results of the study are provided in the attached draft report. The consultant, Raftellus, will present a summary of their work and recommendations at this meeting for council consideration. Staff recommends the council direct the city attorney to prepare an ordinance amending Chapter 70 of the Code of Ordinances to revise the water and sewer miscellaneous service charges, the rates, the water sewer impact fees in accordance with the Raftellus respective recommendations provided in the report. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Nick Smith, manager with Raftellus. With me, I have Henry Thomas, vice president with the firm. And we're here to talk to you about our key assumptions and findings from the comprehensive rate study that we did for the city. So the presentation is broken into a few different sections. We have our overall methodology and approach. We then have the revenue sufficiency, or the monthly user fees, the miscellaneous service fees, and then water and sewer impact fees. So much of the background was already just given, but just as a recap, the last study was done in 2016, where 3% rate adjustments each year were adopted, and the fees have not been adjusted since 2020, and that same rate study miscellaneous service fees were updated, but impact fees for water and sewer have not been updated in about 20 years. So for the study task and approach for the revenue sufficiency study, we take the current budget year of fiscal year 2022, and then we project it out 5 years through fiscal year 2027. And so we take a look at the entire system's financial operations, from projecting revenues and what we call revenue requirements, so things like operating expenses, debt service, things like capital expenditures. We then take a look at any financial metrics, debt service coverage, making sure that all of those requirements are fulfilled, as well as promoting long-term sustainability for the utility. On the miscellaneous service fee side, we take a look at the overall cost to provide such services to make sure that each fee has a full cost recovery for the service provided. And on water and wastewater impact fees, we're making sure and evaluating the costs associated with new development and the pro rata share of capital costs associated with new development, new growth, and capacity. So starting with the financial forecast, the image on the right kind of summarizes how we view our revenue sufficiency studies, where we're trying to bring the system overall into balance. So we have our gross revenues, so our monthly user fees, and in this process, we may have grants or use of reserves to help fund the plan, as well as other operating revenues, such as the miscellaneous service fees. And then on the other side of the equation, we have what we call gross revenue requirements. So as I mentioned, those are things like operating expenses, debt service payments, funding capital, as well as maintaining any sort of financial policies and debt service coverage requirements. And to do this, we use quite a bit of data that we get from staff, so thank you very much. And that includes a projection of customer statistics, so we'll take a look at bills for customers, usage, revenues. We take a look at the current budget for operating expenses, as well as the most recent capital improvement plan for overall funding, and of course, debt service coverage for existing debt. So as a starting point, we take the customer billing data that we receive and we make a revenue projection. And so based on actual 2021 data and then projected out forward, the existing revenues are about $8 million per year for user fees, and those are based on the rates that are currently in effect. And projecting out forward, we're assuming about 12 accounts per year for the system. And that goes back to essentially the historical average in customer growth for the utility. We also project the miscellaneous service fees and other revenues, and that's roughly $500,000 per year. And that includes things like bulk sales to Pinellas County, interest income, permit fees, meter fees, things like that, which are typically held constant throughout the forecast. On the operating expense side, we start with the fiscal year 2022 budget and any amendments or adjustments based on known conditions. So for fiscal year 2022, we start with $6.3 million of operating expenses for the entire system. And then we escalate those amounts in line item detail for the remainder of the forecast 2023 through 2027. Now, based on the current economic condition and situation with inflation, in the near term, our escalation factors that we're using are a little bit higher. So you can see, for example, electricity starts at 10%, chemicals start at 15%, fuel, repairs, maintenance, materials like that, also at 15% in the earlier part of the forecast. And as we move along in the forecast through 2027, those escalation factors start trending downward more towards a historical average for these types of costs. So anywhere from 4 to 5%. In terms of other escalation factors, we have labor at 5% per year, health insurance at 8% per year. And for more general expenses, we use the Congressional Budget Office's latest estimates for inflation, which average about 2.6% per year. And again, for the first year or two, it's a little bit higher. And this results in an annual average growth rate of 5.4% for the entire forecast through 2027. Next, we have the funding of the capital improvement plan, which for the entire forecast is roughly $27.9 million. And there are a few major projects such as the control building, aeration system. However, through this entire capital funding plan, no additional debt is proposed. So existing user rates, reserves, as well as any grants and ARPA funds are being used to fund the entire plan. For debt service, since there is no additional proposed debt, we are only evaluating the existing debt service for the Series 2021 note. And with the existing debt service, the city maintains very strong coverage throughout the entire forecast. Here we have a chart that shows the overall system funding requirements and revenues. So the bars are all the expenditures, and the line is the revenues. In the instances where the bars are above the line, that would indicate a use of reserves to fund the plan. So in addition to the chart that we just saw where the bars were exceeding the revenues, so revenue requirements were exceeding revenues, we also take a look at cash reserves, and the goal is to maintain no less than 150 days of operating expenses, as well as making sure that the capital plan is fully funded without the use of additional debt, and again, maintaining compliance with any debt service coverage requirements. So based on those goals, as well as the funding requirements of the system, 5.5% rate adjustments for water, sewer, and reclaimed water are proposed for fiscal years 2023 through 2027. We also evaluated the bulk wastewater rate, and that is recommended to increase from $3.64 per 1,000 gallons to $5.08 per 1,000 gallons in 2023, and thereafter adjusted by the same 5.5% as the other wastewater rates. Now, assuming the adoption of the recommended rates, we have the same chart that we saw before, but with a new line that is revenues under proposed rates. And as you can see, the proposed rates by the end of the forecast are matching the revenue requirements and expenditures of the system. But similar to the first chart, anytime the bar exceeds our dotted line indicates a use of reserves. And we're going to have the next chart that shows over time to fund the increase in operating expenses due to inflation, the funding of the capital plan without any use of debt. We draw down the reserves over time, and by the final year of the forecast, we are still above the 150-day target. Now, assuming the 5.5% adjustments for both water and sewer, we have a residential bill comparison at roughly 4,000 gallons of combined usage, which we found to be the system average usage based on the customer's billing data. And we've compared it with other utilities, and I will note that the comparables that we're using are based on existing rates. So this does not anticipate any proposed or potentially already adopted adjustments for fiscal year 2023. But as you can see, the existing rates, the city of Oldsmar has a lighter blue bar and a yellow bar to just call out the city's rates a little bit. Both the existing rates and the rates under the proposed 5.5% adjustments for fiscal year 2023 are below the survey average. And again, as other utilities start to implement their own potential increases in their utility fees, there may be potential that the average increases and the relative position for the city may slide a bit. So next on the miscellaneous fees, we would take a look at very specific tasks that are done by staff. So for example, meter installation fees, service turn on and turn off, tampering fees. And we took a look at the overall cost to do those services. So labor costs, time, materials, vehicles and equipment, things of that nature. And we updated the current list of fees that the city has in place or proposed. And table 121 provides a summary of those rates in the rate study. On the impact fee side, as I mentioned before, they're used to charge new development its pro rata share of capital costs associated with treatment and transmission, kind of the key components for the system. But impact fees cannot be used for operating expenses, so they're only there for expansion, growth capital. And the overall theory behind impact fees is that growth pays for growth. So as impact fees are charged, those components of the services do not have to then be rolled into the monthly user rates. And as I mentioned before, the city has not adjusted the impact fees in nearly 20 years. So we are recovering water and wastewater treatment and transmission. So we don't include any sort of distribution or collection costs. Those are typically contributed by the developer, so we don't include those. And we also don't include things like minor equipment, replacements of assets that may already be on the books. And we take a look at the existing fixed assets for the city. And then we take a look at the treatment capacity for each of the plants, how much is available to serve new growth, and based on any projections of capacity-related or expansion-related projects, blended in with the existing fixed assets and the amount that's still left to serve growth to develop our fee. And the current fee and the proposed fees are based on the existing level of service of 250 gallons per day for both water and wastewater service. So based on our analysis of the fixed assets and capacity, as well as the capital plan, we are proposing that the existing fees increase. So for water, it'll be going from $984 to a proposed $3,388, which is an increase mostly associated with the inclusion of the RO plant. So 20 years ago, the fee did not incorporate that. So most of the increase on the water side is associated with the infrastructure that's been invested in the city in the past 20 years, essentially. And on the wastewater side, it's proposed to increase from $1,390 to $3,049. However, based on Florida statutes, the increases may either be limited, require phasing, or additional hearings to be able to satisfy the Florida statutes and any extraordinary circumstances with the impact fees. Similar to the monthly user rates, we have a comparison of water and sewer impact fees with other utilities. And here the city is highlighted by green bars at the bottom and yellow at the top. And the city's fees are now increasing to above the survey average. The one thing that I'll note is that on the other comparables, you'll notice, generally speaking, there is minimal water fees for most of these entities as opposed to an RO plant. So for our conclusions and recommendations, the existing monthly user rates are not projected to be sufficient. So we are recommending 5.5% annual increases to be effective October 1 and each October 1 thereafter through fiscal year 2027. We propose that the impact fee should be updated to reflect the current cost of service for serving new development. We propose that the miscellaneous service fees should also be updated to reflect the current cost of providing service, and that the city continue to review rates at least every 5 years or as conditions materially change. And with that, I will welcome any questions.
Thank you. Great job. Any questions? Councilmember Knapp?
I have one. Thanks for the presentation. It was great. Just a thought while going through this. What level, if any, what would be the influence of any reduction in consumption? Because it kind of presumed there would be some fixed costs in operating both water and wastewater, as well as any variable costs somewhat driven by consumption. So would there be any significant impact there to soften the blow in the future? Or is it not carry a whole lot of weight?
So in terms of reducing consumption, there are obviously other factors that may come into play depending on how much usage they're starting with. So for example, we use the residential average of 4,000 gallons is what we would call essentially essential usage. So that's just cooking, cleaning, bathing, things like that. So in terms of reducing essential usage, there's not a whole lot that can be done for that. The other areas of reducing water usage would be where the city already has, where there's a tiered rate structure, and those prices incline as you use more water. However, based on the system average that we have at 4,000 gallons, that's already included. So relatively speaking, the city is already a lower use system.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? No. Councilmember Gannon?
Just a real quick math problem. Based on the 4,000 gallon average and that average bill, what would be the increase that a resident would see if this is adopted the following year, that 2023?
So for 2023, it's less than $4 a month. It's going from about $68 and change to just over $72 per month for combined service. I believe it's around $3.70 for that first year. And on average, throughout the entire forecast, it remains in that $4 per month average change.
And is that, in your experience, commensurate with the the incremental amount of increase for other cities that are doing rate studies and adjusting? Is it usually $4, that small 5.5% increase? Is that customary?
So in terms of reasons why rates may differ among utilities, there are a lot of different things to come into play. The age of the system, density, things like that. One thing I can say is currently utilities are looking at their rates currently in the same situation that the city's in, with inflation, costs rising, and overall with Florida having as much growth as it's having. Everyone's looking at their fees, and whether or not $4 is on average, that's going to look different depending on where the city is currently. So, for example, some of those folks that are on the higher end, they may have the same anywhere 3 to 5%, but that may feel different as opposed to $4.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions?
Nothing for me.
I just want, Councilmember Gannon had my question taken from me, but that's fine. I just want to make sure that we're clear on this and we understand, and that anybody who's watching, the impact fees are only for developers. That's not going to impact any existing residents.
Correct.
So
This
that's
is for
significant increase.
this is for new growth and any redevelopment that may occur.
That's all I had. Thank you, Matt.
They've been getting a deal for 20 years. All right, I'm looking for a motion to authorize the city attorney to draft an ordinance amending Chapter 70 of the Code of Ordinances to revise water and sewer rates, miscellaneous service charges, and water sewer impact fees as recommended in the Water and Sewer Rate and Fee Sufficiency Analyst Report. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by, any discussion, other discussion? No? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Great job. Thank you so much. You did a
Thank you.
wonderful
Appreciate you guys
job.
hanging in.
I think your presentation did more for me than just reading everything. So thank you very much for that.
I appreciate the
Great
kind
job.
comments.
And thank you for hanging out, both of you hanging out with us here all night tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Next item on the agenda.
Before we move to the next item on the agenda, I do want to recognize Nan Bennett, who is leaving the room right now. And so Nan served as our project manager for this, and I think this may be her last meeting and her last function. So thank you, Nan, for
Nan, for all your
everything.
hard work. Thank you.
Okay, the next item is authorize the city manager to certify a proposed millage rate of 4.05 mils to the Pinellas County Property Appraiser. The city maintained a millage rate of 4.7 mils from 1988 to 1997. From 1998 to 2005, the millage rate was lowered to 4.65. In 2006, the millage rate was 4.6. In 2007, it was 4.0722. And in 2008 through 2022, it has been 4.05 mils. In the current year, the taxable assessed value of the city increased from the prior year. The increase in current taxable value results in a rolled back rate of 3.7011 mils. The rolled back rate is the millage which will produce the same revenue as in the previous year. Therefore, the rolled back rate is lower than the proposed millage rate. The city is proposing a millage rate of 4.05 for the 15th consecutive year. In order for the property appraiser to prepare required notices on proposed property taxes, which will be mailed to each property owner by August 22nd, 2022, we must return the certification of taxable value to the property appraiser by August 2nd, 2022. The council may adopt a lower millage rate based upon decisions at a budget work session or as a result of public hearings on the budget, which will be conducted in September. However, the council may not adopt a higher millage rate than the rate now being certified to the property appraiser. For a home assessed of $250,000 with a $50,000 homestead exemption, the ad valorem taxes levied by the city would be $810. The recommended motion is to authorize the city manager to certify a proposed millage rate of 4.05 mils to the Pinellas County Property Appraiser. Staff recommends approval.
I'm looking for a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion. How about a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion on this item? Councilmember Gannon?
I was glad to see that we were able to maintain the 4.05 mils. The 15 years is a long time, especially given inflation and rising costs for everything from personnel and for insurance, for gas, for fleet. And in light of the rate changes that we just discussed, I think it does help to keep the millage rate the same. So I appreciate everyone's hard work to make sure that we can get an operating budget and a capital improvement budget that stays. And I'm grateful that the ad valorem values stayed steady and brought us into offset. So.
Thank you. I agree with you 100%. Any other comments?
Nothing from me.
All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda, number 22.
Item number 22, approve the renewal of medical and dental benefits with Cigna Healthcare for fiscal year 2022-23 and award contract for vision benefits to IMED. During the past year, the city's medical insurance plan experienced multiple significant claims, with some months reflecting loss ratios as high as 120%, 150%, and 188%. Initially facing an almost 30% increase to medical insurance premiums, consulting costs were removed from the renewal to be paid via line item rather than through premiums, leaving the city and employees with dependent coverage with a 23% projected medical insurance renewal. Facing this dramatic increase, city staff requested the city's benefit consulting, the Garian Group, who is here with us tonight, to coordinate a comprehensive bid process for employee health insurance benefits to evaluate options available in the market. Only 2 carriers responded, with Cigna Health presenting a favorable medical insurance bid that maintain the existing schedule of benefits for a negotiated 8.2% increase. In addition to offering a robust medical insurance plan for employees, it's also desired to contribute to the employee cost of dependent medical insurance. Currently, the employee bears all costs related to any dependent coverage, whether it's a spouse, child, or family. The proposed plan, which is outlined in the attached executive summary, will lower the employee's cost of dependent medical coverage by 25% for fiscal year 22-23 as compared to the current fiscal year. This recommendation will not only reduce the financial burden on city employees, but will also help the city become more competitive in the marketplace and surrounding municipalities and other area employees. Approval of this agenda item will serve as council approval of the contribution to the cost of dependent medical coverage for current employees as of October 1st, 2022. Alongside the health insurance benefits, the city has planned to continue to provide city-funded $1,000 HRA contribution to employees enrolled in the medical plan, which will assist with out-of-pocket medical expenses such as co-pays and deductibles. There will be no increase for Cigna's dental insurance and employee assistance program, the EAP. Vision insurance will decrease by 9% with a switch from Cigna to iMed for vision insurance. Overall, the 8.2% medical insurance increase, along with the city contribution to dependent coverage, will lead to a 13.2% increase to the employer's cost of the medical insurance plan for FY 22-23, and a 15.3% decrease in employee cost when taken into account former employees who remain on the plan for retirees. Staff recommends approval. Sean Fleming is here from the Gehring Group if you have any questions.
Wow, this sounds wonderful, Felicia. Great job. Fantastic. Do we have any questions for staff? No? Anybody? All right. Need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any other discussion?
No.
Felicia, great job.
Thank you. And before I move on, I want to thank the staff that worked tirelessly on getting this proposal. And so Michelle Kutch, our Human Resources Director, Cindy Neno, and Garrett Zeliff. So thank you all. And Sean Fleming from the Gehring Group.
This is great for the employees.
Yeah.
Wonderful job.
I hope
Congratulations.
I hope it continues to keep us competitive in the marketplace. I mean, I saw Safety Harbor has a trailer out on McMullen Booth Road now hiring anyone, anywhere. You know, the benefits are a big deal. It's part of the entire compensation package. I was actually shocked when I heard that people were making, you know, $15 an hour, some of our staff at the lower pay rates, and then out of their paycheck comes more than half.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just for themselves. So that was pretty surprising. So I'm glad we're coming sort of back into the average for other cities, especially.
Any other discussion? Well, keep up the good work, city staff. Keep going for those employees. Make them happy. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Felicia, great job again.
Thank you. Item number 23, approve the special event application fee waiver request for the Rotary Club of Oldsmar East Lakes Armadillo Run to be held on August 27, 2022. In August 2022, the Rotary Club of Oldsmar East Lake will hold its 41st annual Armadillo Run in Oldsmar. Over the years, the club has been recognized as a valued civic organization supporting the local community. Their activities include events at local schools, providing food and gifts for the needy and homeless, supporting local emergency management agencies, providing disaster relief, and supporting local youth programs. Profits from this race will be utilized by the club to provide services and activities such as Student of the Month at local schools, the Thanksgiving and Christmas Adopt a Family program, youth mentoring, educational scholarships, wheelchairs for wounded warriors, and other humanitarian programs. This item requests the waiver of fees in the amount of $2,840. In accordance with the City of Oldsmar Special Event Guide, the above organization is requesting that the city waive the fees associated with this event. All other external costs, including utility fees of $50, will be the responsibility of the event organizer as outlined in the application. It is anticipated that the event will bring over 500 runners and spectators to the city. A copy of the application is attached for your review, and staff recommends approval.
Okay. Andrew, you gonna run?
I'm gonna run, I just wish it was still in March.
Yeah, it's gonna be hot.
Not looking forward to an August run.
All right, I need a motion to approve.
Moved.
How about a second?
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All right, Andrew's gonna run.
Andrew.
Anybody else?
I don't know, I might walk it.
I'm busy that day.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item on our agenda is our city clerk, Ann Nixon.
I don't have anything.
Nothing?
Oh, but happy birthday.
Okay, there you go. Well, thank you. All right, next item on the agenda is city council. Discuss implementing open format town hall discussions. And Andrew, I'm going to give you the floor on this.
Thank you, Mayor. So previously, I had brought this up as wanting to discuss this. Obviously, had some family things get in the way, good things, of course. And as it became one of our council priorities for increasing citizen engagement, I felt that it was necessary to, by listening to what people had providing feedback to us, is giving them some sort of means or a venue to provide real-time interaction between the council as well as the citizens. So after spending some time speaking with the city manager as well as city clerk over the last couple of months, kind of brainstorming about this, kind of broke it down into two different categories, if you will. I don't know if it's worth spending a lot of time this evening, unless the council is so inclined to discuss it, versus putting this off into a workshop to get into depth. But I'll just kind of highlight things and then we'll go from there. So as you all know, we have some pretty significant things coming up, some which are cyclical, as well as some that are one-off instances. The three biggest ones that I'd like to highlight is, of course, the City Hall development site, of which we have a focus group event, obviously tomorrow, but that doesn't involve us, as we just voted on earlier. In addition to that, we will be working on updates to our comp plan in the not-too-distant future, and that may be an opportunity for the citizens as well as the council to have an interactive Q&A in relation to that. And the third one, which was offered up by the city manager, is our budget process, to where if we did have some type of live Q&A or interaction process with the community at large, we can shift to a more priority-based budgeting process. So with those three, call them big ticket or major event type things, I think it would behoove us to consider hosting some sort of event that is properly scheduled in advance of taking action on each of those three things. So the budget process obviously would be much earlier than voting on the final budget, or tentatively I should say, maybe not obviously. The comp plan, I think it's something to where once we have whatever exercises that go through there, that then we have the opportunity to have some interaction with the public. And then I think it's a no-brainer with the City Hall that, as sort of what took place this evening with voting on the library project, that prior to having a public hearing when it relates to what amounts to one of the most important projects probably in the entire history of our city and for who knows how far into the future, we should by all means have some sort of basically final interaction before we then go and review a proposal, directing the city attorney to get, or actually take that back, directing the city manager to proceed into negotiations with a selected developer. So before we pick someone, if we pick someone, it needs to come before us and have the opportunity to interact with the council. So there's that kind of subsection of major, like topic-specific options for us as a council to interact with the public. Then in addition to that, because those are kind of restricted and focused in scope, I would propose that we consider some form of open format, which was the title of our agenda item, open format Q&A town hall session. Perhaps it's semi-annually. I'm open to a different frequency interval if the council is so inclined. And that's just really whether it's 1 hour before 2 of the council meetings each year, depending on whatever interval everyone feels comfortable with. Obviously providing some sort of rules so that the meeting is organized and not just firing off questions left or right and we can't anybody can get a word in on either side. So there will be a need, regardless of if it's these topic-specific town halls versus a more generalized one, to have some sort of rules of procedure for those meetings. So I would like to offer it up for discussion amongst the council to see what your thoughts are as far as just initial reaction, and then where do we go from here?
Okay.
Mayor, if you'd like to lead off or pass along.
I have a couple questions. So you're envisioning all of us being in this town hall meeting? Is that your envision? Something
So
like
it would
a
be
Teagle
something-
Hall or something here?
Whatever the venue that would make the most sense, depending on the issue at hand. So maybe dance around, maybe do it here. I'm open to getting the people.
Now, are you also thinking maybe doing them individually, like you would do one by yourself? Or you would rather have them, all of us there?
Well, nothing prevents any of us from doing those on our own now, right? I mean, we can do that. It's just, I, based on my interpretation of some of the feedback that's gone on over the last few months, is for us to be together as a group. Not that we're going to get into debate, it's more so Q&A or interaction with, and I think especially what's more important or significant is these big ticket issues.
I like your idea. And the other thing I want to mention is I really feel that lately, the last few weeks, our staff has really started to communicate some of the events that are going on with the new minute.
Another piece of the puzzle.
Oldsmar minute, we're really trying to portray what our city is doing to the public and really trying to engage them of what's going on. I do like your idea, but I'd like to hear from the other council members. But I really like what you said about maybe having a workshop on this, so we don't spend too much time on it. But I do like it, more discussion.
Needs more development.
Right. Councilmember Gann, would you like to add anything?
Sure, Mayor. I do like this idea. I appreciate the sort of breakdown of the two kinds of meetings you're talking about, the open format versus attaching the discussion to a specific timely item such as the comp plan or something like that. My only concerns are, logistic, and I think a work session is probably a good idea because it sounds like there's a lot to unpack there, right? So if we're all getting together and having a meeting sort of before the city council meeting, then it would have to be noticed as a meeting. So we'd have a meeting and then another meeting, which is fine, but then, depending on what we're gonna bring up and talk about or what is asked of us, I just want to make sure, because it could get a little tricky, right? I don't want us to be up here talking about something with no agenda and the public, some people miss out on it. I just want to make sure that we take into account all those logistics. But in general, I think it's a good idea to schedule a work session and talk it out, figure out what might be best practices for other cities that have some kind of open format or specifically targeted town hall meetings or whatever hall, but a place, like you said, that could accommodate for whatever the meeting would be about. So, yeah, I'd be in favor of a work session.
Thank you. I have one question before I go to you. Tom, do you have any other municipalities that you can share with us that they might do this type of procedure?
So for the city of Dunedin, a couple of years ago, there was a huge concern about short-term rentals, whether they wanted them, whether they don't want them, and they wanted to hear from the public, and so they invited everyone to come. And it was basically a town hall meeting that was run by the city manager. And she basically made an opening statement where what the meeting was about. She advised that city staff was there to answer questions if possible, and the commission basically sat in the audience in the back. They did not participate, they were just there to listen. It was obviously a meeting that was noticed to the public, but minutes did not have to be taken because it was not a meeting of the commissioners that were there. And a couple of hundred people spoke. I thought it went very, very well. It lasted a couple of hours. But they decided that they were going to have someone that was going to direct it. And that they chose the city manager to do that. They had a person that was moved throughout the audience with a microphone to help people that were not as agile to get to the front. Those people that were available, that had the physical ability to get to the front, they would have them come to the front to, basically, it was just a microphone stand. It wasn't a podium like this. And they got to address their issues and their thoughts and their concerns. That was one of the first town hall meetings that they had a couple of years ago. And I thought it went great, and they got, a lot of good feedback at that particular meeting. So that's one suggestion as an open hall town meeting. As for others, the city of Tarpon Springs, they basically, when they do meetings like that, they have a consultant or they have a staff member that basically will run their meeting. Sometimes the commission is there, sometimes not. And a lot of open areas with placards and pictures and data and so forth on big projects and so forth in advance. So it's your option as to how you want to handle it. But if you're going to be present and you're going to participate, we have to follow the sunshine law. If you're going to be there and just sit back in the background and just listen, well, then we have a lot more leeway. Just keep in mind that what you've heard and what I hear on a constant basis is that when you attend these types of meetings, there's going to be a little intimidation there from the people that are speaking, because they're not going to, I don't think they're going to speak as freely as they would probably if you weren't there. But that's just kind of the playoffs that you have, and you have to make that decision. And that's why it's always been my advice to you on advisory board meetings that you don't attend them, because there is always some intimidation or a need to please you in the audience to do the things that they think that you want to happen, and so you can avoid that. Just some thoughts.
Thank you. Vice Mayor, you have anything you wanted to add?
With as many thoughts as I have in my head, workshop. But some of the original ones that I'm thinking of is, time and time again, I hear from residents, it's 7 o'clock on a Tuesday, I got kids, I'm home from school, looking at different times. I know Saturday mornings, we got to talk about time, so workshop.
Okay, Councilmember Graver.
Yeah, I think we're starting to do some of these things after, I made the recommendation to pause the negotiations with Woodfield and have the visioning workshop. We got that set up. We got that set up in relatively short time. So I think, and I'm not going to speak for Councilmember Knapp, but it's, how can we do more of this? But we got to figure out a way to do it. So getting together, having a workshop and having it facilitated, again, it's getting somebody so we kind of are steered in the direction as to what, okay, this is what works here, this is what works there. Tom had a couple of examples, but good idea. I just don't think we're there yet, but putting it on our radars is the best thing to do, and setting up a workshop might be the best thing as well.
Okay. Cool. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you for the discussion. I appreciate it, and I look forward to moving the needle forward.
All right, so we can add it to the tentative agenda if you'd like. All right, I think we're good. We don't need a motion on that. So let's go to the next item. The county commission, item 25, the county commissioners or the Pinellas County School Board move the date, so there's no need to move on our meeting. We don't have to move our meeting, so we're good. We're going to keep it on the 20th.
Yep.
All right, so that's done too. Item 26, approve absence of Councilmember Knapp, Andrew Knapp, for the June 21st, 2022 meeting. This is a new agenda item. I don't think we should approve it. What do you guys think?
I don't think so.
Why weren't you here? What was going on?
I think we should allow him to be present for the birth of his child.
I agree. I agree. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
I got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations, Andrew.
Thank you, Council.
That's great.
Very much appreciated.
Yeah.
Henry appreciates it.
I got to see him at the BMX. He's getting big.
He made fun of me afterwards.
At the wedding, you can show him that video.
There you go.
All right, item 27 is council comments, and we're going to start out with Daddy Andrew Knapp.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. First off, happy birthday.
Thank you.
And again, thank you, Council, for the consideration of the excused absence. My wife and family appreciate that. It's kind of interesting. I'd like to dovetail what we were just talking about as far as open town halls go, and on the topic of increasing citizen engagement. We had our work session recently with the rules of procedure, and we did touch on briefly about basically utilizing technology in order to try to help other people be able to participate in meetings. I would like for the council to just think about it for when that item comes back from the city attorney as a draft to amend our rules of procedure, to maybe reconsider exploring that. I know it's a logistical thing, as Councilmember Gannon brought up. It's a logistical thing. It's by no means utilizing technology is by no means preventing people from attending, because obviously we have our meetings in person. It allows the greater chance for others to attend. So just keep that in mind. After getting some feedback from the few people that I know actually watched that meeting, helped me kind of see that, and I agreed with their opinion. So just throwing that out there. Let's see. BMX was awesome. Maybe that's why I went first.
Can you give us a play-by-play?
Do we have a replay of that? We do.
Is it on the tape? No.
I'm not, yeah, but we do.
Safety first. Thank you for providing the helmets, Felicia and staff. But what I would like to touch on is the event was fantastic. I was blown away by the number of people were there. It's like the community knew it was happening, and the riders were there in full force. It was just awesome, the whole experience, including this. The one thing that I would just like to mention, and I don't know what can be done about it, but our facility is amazing, right? But for new riders, it could probably be pretty intimidating, and I'm talking kids that probably aren't too small or too little to be going on the little Strider course. I don't know if there's any type of means, as far as our program goes there, to kind of almost test kids out to be able to be on those hills, because I think that will just make that facility that much safer for people to be using. So just wanted to throw that out there. Then I just wanted to comment about tonight with the number of people here, and how great the community kind of just organically said, oh, hey, you need help, I got you. I feel like we will see more of that in the future, and when people attend and pack the house, there's greater chance for that to happen. So please keep continuing to come to our meetings, be participative in the political process, because I think there's going to be a lot of benefit from all those folks being in the room tonight. And then I think that is it. Thank you.
Sure?
I'm sure.
All right, well, thank
I
you.
won't change my mind.
I'm going to switch it up a little bit. I'm going to move over to Councilmember Graber.
Thank you, Mayor. Andrew, I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say, since I finished fifth, so I watched the entire thing unfold, but, you know.
Smashed into me.
Well, I didn't want to hit you, and I didn't want to run him over, but I'm glad you're all right. Not much, and just in the interest of time, the BMX opening was fantastic. City staff did just a wonderful job. Excited to see the results of the workshop, and the sales tax holiday. I know it was on Ann's Community Minute. Just wanted to make sure, July 25th to August 7th. I cannot believe school is starting August 10th, and so it's coming up on us really fast, but just remember that. Happy birthday, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, next is Councilmember Gannon.
Thank you, Mayor. I echo the various accolades and gratitude to city staff for the awesome BMX track opening. You know, it's never lost on me. We walk up and we just stand there, and there's everything is completely organized, right? We walk up and you guys there's a map for where we're supposed to walk and put on. All you have to do is not fall over. Apparently not everybody can follow all the directions, but in any event, big thank you to Nan Bennett. I know we just saw her walk out, but big thank you to her, to Chip Potts, to Mark and Deb and all the city staff that organized and worked tirelessly for weeks and weeks leading up to it to make sure that everything went off without a hitch. Thank you to all of our community members near and far who showed up to ride again. It was nice to see everybody out there. Thank you to all of the sponsors. You know, we see those giant banners, but there were some big heavy hitter sponsors up there. It's gonna be Clearwater Airport, you know, and it was great that Barry Burton and some of the folks from the county came. That was really wonderful to see them and to express that gratitude to them in person. I wanted to thank Liz Martin and everybody from Operation Jack's Village who came out tonight to accept the Council Manager Award. I was glad that a lot of the kids showed up. I wanted them to feel recognized and acknowledged, validated. And I want to thank the council and the staff who's sitting here for the additional time that I probably took to express as best I could how deserving they really are of the award. So thank you for that time. Looking forward to the feedback from the vision statement community meeting tomorrow night. Just one reminder, if you can't come tomorrow night, there'll be several more opportunities to participate for the public. So don't worry if you can't come tomorrow night. There's still plenty of opportunities. And then this is just for the vision statement that will be incorporated into the overall request for development proposal. So continue to stay tuned and check your mail for postcards and Experience Oldsmar. I'm sure we'll have an update at our next edition. Happy birthday to our mayor, as we said, and happy birthday to our city manager, Felicia Donnelly, in exactly 1 week.
That's right.
So, and also happy birthday to our former city manager, who's out Braithwaite, whose birthday is today as well. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. First thing I want to start off with wishing a happy birthday, not to you, Mr. Mayor. My wife's birthday is coming up this Saturday, so priorities. Got to make sure I get those in order,
priorities.
right? But no, happy birthday, Mr. Mayor. Happy birthday, Felicia. Katie, I thought it was a wonderful presentation. I had an opportunity to meet with Liz and talk to her. I'm excited to see what they're doing and where they're going. Really moving what she's doing and exciting to see what's become of that. For a brief moment in time when we moved here in 16, Jack lived next door to us. And when we heard that news, I was torn apart. It wasn't next door, but it was just to see what's come out of that. It's an unfortunate accident, but see the positive that's come out of that. It's just amazing. The BMX track opening, I think I was third or second. All I know is Andrew went down right in front of me. I went for the grass, hoping I didn't make 2 accidents at once. So I went off into the grass to avoid him. Really excited to see the feedback tomorrow night. I think this visioning workshop, we're doing this the right way. I'm excited to see what's going to come back and see the community feedback from that. With that community feedback, you know, when I took this position, there was a warning given to me about social media. And I took that to heart and I stayed off of it. I've been off of it and everything else. But recently, between the phone calls that I'm receiving from other residents, I went through and read the Oldsmar comments pages, and I think we need to further address this and understand what's going on out there, because I think there's something brewing out there that is going to pop on us, and we need to look at that. So I'm going to be making an addition to the agenda for the next meeting. Okay, Mr. Mayor. So that's all I have for now.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. I just have a couple things. First of all, the BMX thing I thought was incredible. I can't thank city staff and everybody involved in that whole process. It was outstanding. The only thing I was really disappointed in, I was really disappointed. All I wanted was a hot dog. 500 hot dogs gone. I go up to get a hot dog, we're out of hot dogs. We sold 500 hot dogs. Other than that, it was great. It was a great event.
I didn't get one either, so don't.
I'm only kidding. I just thought it was funny that they were eating big hamburgers when I got there. I was like, oh, where'd you get the hamburgers from? I got one other item I want to talk about. Someone brought up, I don't remember who it was, but dress code. So I want to up here at the dais because it is really warm out. I think this is one of the warmest summers we've ever had. When I first got on council, Mayor Beavis, he would probably just wear like polo shirts, and sometimes he wore shorts, I think. I'm not really sure, I don't remember, but anyways, I started coming to council, I started wearing ties because I went to Catholic school. But I want to make sure that everyone understands that if you want to come in a polo shirt and you don't want to wear your tie or your suit coat because of the summertime, that's fine. Just want to make that,
Thanks.
well, whatever.
I know what you mean.
So I just want to make that clear, that if you guys want to do something different, that's fine, all right? We good? Last thing, the overwhelming birthday wishes from social media, the people in the city of Oldsmar, I just want to say thank you very much. I'm just overwhelmed, and my phone, I was with my meeting with Felicia today, and it wouldn't stop ringing. I mean, it was crazy, so, but just thank you, everyone. And that's all I have, and with that, we're gonna go to item 28, approve the tentative agenda for August 2nd, 2022 council meeting. Does anyone wish to pull anything? Did I leave something out?
I just have a clarification.
Sure.
Vice Mayor Buckman, you wanted to add something, but what
Yeah.
specific language?
So the concern that I've been hearing is that people don't know what's going on, and just a high-level 30,000-foot view of the lawsuits that are happening in this city, because people are calling me upset that we're spending money to defend cases out there and they don't know what's going on. I know it's public record. I know they can ask for those records. I encourage them to ask for those records, but at the same time, they're asking me to put it on the agenda. So I'm following what citizens are calling me about, and I'd like to add something, to have a discussion about the legal cases that are going on with the city. Is that okay?
No.
Okay.
I would not recommend that. There's certain information that we don't want to disclose. It's attorney-client privileged, or it's otherwise litigation privileged. And it would be a complete disadvantage for the city to discuss openly the strategies
I'm not
and
asking that-
defenses that have been raised. And as for the litigation, there's only 2 cases pending in the city of Oldsmar right now. That's the one that was brought by Mr. McDonald and the BMX litigation. So the BMX litigation is ongoing. We took that case over because of the fact that the law firm that was handling it before was expensive, and we were trying to limit some of the costs, and we took on that responsibility. There may be other small little cases that defense of a mortgage foreclosure case when we have a lien or something like that. But the 2 cases that are pending are the BMX case and Mr. McDonald's case.
Okay, and I'm not asking to get into strategy in an open forum. That would be ludicrous for me to ask. I'm asking for just a 30,000-foot view. This is the case, this is what's happening, this is where we're at.
Okay, well, the attorneys that are handling that, like, where they can prepare a memo to the commission or to the council and advise you as to which is happening in every one of those cases. As for Mr. McDonald's case, as you remember, when you first came on board, you specifically advised me not to include you in any discussions relative to that because you wanted to avoid any possible conflict or appearance of impropriety.
Correct.
And that's what we've been doing with regard to you. That's why you don't have that information everybody else has. If you want to start receiving it, then I'll provide it to you.
It's because of the calls that I'm getting that I'm now being forced into that position.
Okay, we will provide you with the information that you need so
Okay.
that you can feel comfortable. And as for providing that information to the public, I would caution you,
Okay.
That it's not in the best interests of the city's defense. High-level things like, okay, well, this is the kind of lawsuit it is, and these are the defenses that are raised. Sure, those are public record information. Those are on the court docket. But as for anything else, I would not advise that.
Okay. I'm just saying the common citizen doesn't know where to look for that information. When they're calling me for it, I'm steering them towards the city to ask for that information.
If you want to have me to provide a complete copy of the documents that have been filed in the court file for the city clerk to have, then anybody
I don't think that's
Anybody that wants
necessary.
them, they can make a public records request or a phone call to Ann, and she can provide them with a copy of those documents.
Okay.
So,
We could do it that way.
all right, I'd be happy to do that.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Back to item 28. Does anybody wish to pull anything from the tentative agenda? Does anybody wish to add anything? Councilmember Knapp?
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to propose adding to the tentative agenda to schedule a work session for open, or maybe not open format, council town halls.
Anybody else would like to add anything? Councilmember Knapp, would you mind making a motion for the?
I move to amend the tentative agenda to add an item for scheduling a work session to discuss city council town hall meetings.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Now, do we have to do another motion for the?
I would make a motion to approve the tentative agenda as amended.
Second.
All right, and we have a second. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, everybody, it's 9:30. Have a great evening. Meeting adjourned.